Welcome to Hello Friends BookTube. Today we are going to talk about the book Strategic Mindset by Thibaut Meurisse, a 32-year-old man who has always been confused about his life, works in a mid-sized company, and when he gets a salary every month, he only thinks about what he is doing in his life. A few years ago, she had big dreams of a good job, a house of her own, and everything that is needed for a perfect life. But now, the days are spent in office work and weekend binge-watching. One day, while returning from office, sitting in the metro, Prakash thought that he needed to change something in his life. He called his friend Arun, who always advised him to read and learn something new. Prakash immediately downloaded the book on his phone from Thibaut Meurisse. That night, he promised himself that, no matter what, he would read the book in its entirety the next morning. He set his alarm early and started the day with the first chapter of the book, The Importance of Long-Term Goals. The first lesson was the importance of long-term goals. Prakash found it to be a rather heavy topic, but as he began to read, he realized that perhaps this was the missing piece of his life. It was written in the book that if there is no long-term goal in your life, then you are stuck in your small decisions. Prakash suddenly remembered all those moments when he did not clear his goals. Never did he plan his savings. Sometimes he did. Don't focus on your career growth. While reading the book, he always had immediate needs like shopping for a salary or hanging out with friends on the weekend, but long-term goals never came to his mind. The book gave him an analogy of think of your life as a ship without a clear destination. The winds and currents will take you where they want, but if you have a clear goal, you can steer the ship. According to Prakash, his life was like a ship adrift. He asked himself what my ultimate goal was, but the answer was not clear. It was written in the book that it is important to set long-term goals because they shape your everyday decisions. If your goal is clear, you can avoid distractions. Prakash immediately picked up his notebook and tried to jot down some of his big dreams. First, he wrote down a generic goal. I want to be successful. But as soon as he read it, he thought it was too fast. In the book, it was told that the goals should be specific and measurable. While working on this, he wrote me in 5 years at a senior position in his field. This goal is to reach. He felt some solid and ache. Webble. Then he wrote goals for his personal life, like paying attention to his health, and buying a house book taught him one more thing. Reflecting on his goals regularly, Meurisse had written that it is not enough to just write down the goals. It is important to review them from time to time so that you can see whether you are on the right track or not. Prakash found it very practical. He set a weekly reminder in his phone, review your goals. He remembered that a quote was written in the book, Your Goals make you a little scared and a lot more excited. Prakash found this line very inspiring. He thought that if my goals are not challenging me, then maybe those goals worth achieving. He decided that he will work towards his goals for at least 30 minutes every day, whether it is learning something new, developing a skill, or just improving his health. He downloaded an app where he could track his daily progress. But he started paying more attention because he knew it was part of his long-term strategy. He also noticed his colleagues. Some were working only for their salary, while others were passionate about their career growth. The light understood which way he had to choose. When he got home in the evening, he started reading again. He had just finished the first lesson that day, but that lesson changed his mind. Before going to bed at night, he reread his goals and promised himself that no matter how difficult it was, he would do everything possible to improve his life. Early in the morning, Prakash again opened the book on the sound of his alarm. He thought he would learn something new today, just like yesterday. The first chapter completely changed his thinking. Now he was genuinely excited to bring focus and clarity to life. Today's lesson was effective over efficiency. At the beginning of the book, Meurisse asked a question. Are you doing the right things and just doing things right? Which got Prakash thinking. Prakash carefully read what Meurisse wanted to explain in the book, and the next lesson read, Missed the point, missed the mark. Efficiency means doing a job in the right way in a short time and with more productivity. But effective means doing work that is aligned with your priorities and goals. In a way, effective means choosing the right things. He was always avoiding getting up in the morning to go to the gym, but in the office he was always efficient in replying to emails quickly. He thought I was spending my energy on things that might not be my priority. Replying to emails is important, but is it helping me achieve my long-term goals? An interesting example was given in the book. If someone climbs a ladder very efficiently, but the ladder is attached to the wrong wall, then his hard work is useless. Prakash found this example to be a perfect fit for him. He realized that his efficiency was only in completing small, everyday tasks, while he should be working on his big goals. He made a list of all the tasks of his day, and then he put all those tasks in the category of important, urgent, and at the same time he saw that most of his day's work came in the category of urgent, but the important things in his life were very less. There was a suggestion in the book, Learn to Say No to Things That Don't Align with Your Goals. Prakash recalled that in the office, he would often leave his work to help his colleague, or sit in on meetings that had nothing to do with him. He thought that now he will focus on his priority that day in the office. He tried to apply this lesson practically. As soon as a colleague asked him for help, he refused. Polite, it was new for him, because he was always busy in meeting the expectations of others. But today he focused on his work. When he came home in the evening, he took out his notebook and analyzed his tasks throughout the day. He felt that he had taken a step towards being effective instead of being efficient. He thought this was just the beginning of his priorities and goals. Must be accustomed to work according to the principles. Another thing that was written in the book that Prakash liked very much was that business is not a badge of honor, it is a sign of priority. He realized that he often told his friends that I am very busy, but now he understood that it is not a good thing to be busy if you are not working on the right things. Later, he named it his top 3 priority. The next morning, Prakash followed this plan. He wrote reading a book for self-learning for an hour, working on the strategy of his presentation, 3 30-minute walks for his fitness. In the beginning, he found it challenging. Old habits were coming in the way again and again, like checking emails or wasting time on social media. But he kept himself disciplined. At the end of the day, when he completed his priority, he felt that he was dissatisfied inside. Another interesting concept in the book was the Pareto principle, also known as the 8020 rule, which states that your achievements at 80 come from your efforts at 20. Prakash thought of applying this concept to his life. He wrote, which 20 tasks will give him his 80 success? She found that self-learning networking and a focus on health were the biggest factors in her script. Over the next few days, Prakash noticed that her mindset had changed. He seems to be now asking himself before doing every work, is it necessary for my goals? If there was no answer, he would either leave that work or postpone it for the sake of talking. He also reduced social media usage and tried to spend that time in self-improvement. One day his friend Arun came to meet him. Arun noticed the change in light. He asked how you became so organized and focused. Prakash smiled and told him the name of the book, and said that Arun had just learned that doing the right thing is more important than being busy. Laughing, it seems that now you are really going to do something big in life. Prakash nodded and said, of course, but this journey has just begun. I have a lot more to learn. At night, Prakash wrote in his journal, effective is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Today, I feel like I'm finally on the right track. The next morning, Prakash woke up to the sound of the alarm. He was doing something energizing. He understood that every lesson of the book was giving him new clarity in his life. He said to himself, let's see what we learn today. He quickly made his tea and opened the book. Today's lesson was incremental growth. As soon as Prakash started reading, he noticed a line. Small, consistent steps don't look like much at the moment, but over time they produce extraordinary results. Hearing this, Prakash began to remember his old habits. He always set big goals like learning 10 kg weight in a month or learning a new language in 3 months, but after a few days of working with motivation, he would give up. Prakash felt that this lesson applied to every aspect of his life. He asked himself, am I overestimating myself because of the big goals, or am I underestimating the small steps? The answer was very clear, yes. Another powerful concept was given in the book, The Power of 1% Improvement. Meurisse had said that if you improve one skill or habit every day, then in a year you can be 37 times better in that thing. Hearing this, Prakash felt that he has always been thinking of long jumps, while real success. He thought about how to apply it in his life. He took out his notebook and wrote down the areas where he wanted to improve. He found that the most improvement needed was in his fitness, career skills, and time management. But this time, he decided that he would not make unrealistic goals. He would focus on small, actionable steps. For fitness, he planned to walk only 15 minutes every day. Earlier, he used to think of joining the gym and working out for 2 hours, but now he understood that sustainable habits are more important. He told himself that if I can walk for 15 minutes every day, then gradually I will be able to increase it to 30 minutes. For career skills, he planned 20 minutes of self-learning every day. He had already started the habit of reading books, so he thought that he would make it more consistent. He also searched for some free courses on LinkedIn that were relevant to his career. For time management, he thought of trying the Pomodoro technique. The lights seemed to feel as product activity is often reduced due to distractions. This technique can help him stay focused. On that day in the office, Prakash did a practical test of incremental growth for the first time. He thought that his most boring task would be to organize an old report in a 25-minute session. He set the timer and focused only on that task. As soon as the timer ended, he was surprised that the work that he had been avoiding for several days was now more than half finished. He came home in the evening and started his walk routine. He put on his headphones and sang his favorite songs. When the songs were completed, he put on his shoes and listened to the music for a few minutes before going to bed. 15 minutes of walking with him, he knew it wasn't a big achievement, but he was satisfied that he had started. He said to himself, today, 15 minutes tomorrow, 20, and then slowly for an hour wrote another thing in the book which made Prakash think deeply. Meurisse wrote, "Don't wait for motivation, focus on consistency." Prakash realized that he often waited for inspiration to kickstart things, but now he understands that motivation can come. Consistency is the real thing. Over the next few days, the light showed its incremental growth. He woke up in the morning, read 2 pages of the book, worked in the Pomodoro sessions in the office, and walked for 15 to 20 minutes in the evening. He felt that he was feeling better every day. One day he thought, why not apply this philosophy to his finances as well? He analyzed his monthly expenses and made a simple rule that he would save 10% of his salary every month. He opened a separate savings account and automated that 10 rupees salary is transferred to it every month. Prakash gradually began to feel the power of this incremental growth and noticed that his stress levels were decreasing because he no longer had unrealistic expectations. He had understood that success is a marathon, not a sprint. On one weekend, when Prakash met his friend Arun, he told him about his progress. "I realize that small steps can sometimes be boring." Prakash replied, "Yes, but now I understand that discipline is not always exciting. Gradually the results are visible, and that is the motivation." Arun smiled and said, "Now you said big leap. Big dreams are still there, but the way to achieve them has changed. Now I consider even small steps as equally important." On the night of Jitna destination, Prakash wrote in his journal, "Small steps are not insignificant. They are the foundation of great achievements today. I've read, 15 minutes, 5 pages, and completed 1 productive Pomodoro session, all of which may seem small, but I know it's making my future better." From pregnancy, Prakash had started making small changes in his life by now. He realized that the concept of incremental growth was making his life better. But when he read the next lesson of the book, Managing Energy Cycles, he thought that this might be the most practical and impactful lesson ever. Drinking morning tea, Prakash started reading the book. The first line of this lesson was, "It's not about managing time, it's about managing energy." Prakash found it somewhat confusing that he had always heard that time management is the biggest secret of productivity, but Meurisse was saying something else. Do tasks that don't take much thought, Prakash thought, this is the perfect thing. I often tackle the most difficult tasks when my mind is tired, and then it takes more time. He immediately pulled out his notebook and asked himself, what are the most productive hours of my day? When do I feel the most tired? First, am I using my high-energy time correctly? He looked at his daily routine and remembered that mornings were the best time for him. Tea was about the time for him. So to begin with, after drinking, he felt refreshed, and his mind ran at its fastest, but he was often busy with emails and small tasks at that time. In the book, Meurisse suggested that, to manage your energy, you first need to track your energy cycles. Prakash decided to give it a try for the next few days. He started noting down his energy levels for every hour of his day. He made a simple scale, low, medium, and high. After tracking for a few days, Prakash saw the patterns. His energy level was high from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. It became low between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. It became medium again after 6 p.m. Seeing these patterns, he felt that now he can organize his tasks better. He thought that challenging tasks like making presentations or strategic planning would be done in the morning, while repetitive tasks like replying to emails would be done in the afternoon. The next day, Prakash implemented his new strategy. He made a list of his most important tasks. His first task was to prepare the next week's client presentation. He started working on it as soon as he drank tea. Earlier, he used to do this work in the afternoon, but now he shifted it to his high-energy time. Prakash felt a big difference. The difficult work, which seemed heavy to him at first, now seemed surprisingly easy. He was able to work quickly and with more focus. In 2 hours, his presentation draft was ready. He said to himself, "Man, this energy management is really a wonderful thing in the afternoon." When his energy level was low, he worked only on emails and small admin tasks. He saw that these tasks were easily done even with less energy. He felt that he used his time and energy properly. In the evening, when his energy level was on medium, he worked on his self-learning. He read the next few pages of the book and researched on a new skill. But now he realizes that breaks and recovery are equally important. He decides to incorporate breaks into his routine. He tweaks the Pomodoro technique. In these breaks, he drinks water, takes a walk, or just relaxes with his eyes closed. Within a few days, Prakash noticed that his efficiency had increased. The amount of work he did earlier, Arun laughed and said that now he has become a productivity guru. Prakash replied, "Man, it all seems so easy, but I never paid attention to it before." Think about how important it is to do the right thing at the right time. Arun asked, "Are you relaxed all the time?" Prakash smiled and said, "No, man, the pressure of work is still there. But now I work smartly. The most difficult thing I do is when my energy is high, and when my energy is low, I don't push myself unnecessarily." At night, Prakash wrote in his journal, "Today I realized that managing energy is more important than managing time. By aligning my tasks with my energy levels, I become more productive and less the view of exercising/eating loads of food." Stressed. This is a game changer. This new habit of Prakash had now become a part of his life. He knew that energy management is not just for work, but for everything, whether it is fitness, relationships, or self-growth. The next morning, Prakash sat down with his routine tea and smiled as he opened a new chapter of the book. The first line of the book is, "Light filters in to wash all the remaining dirty dishes off your face." The next morning, Prakash sat home for an hour, reading a book. It is not a strategic mindset. It's only about solving problems, about asking the right questions that are necessary to gain a deeper vision. Prakash paused and asked himself, if I was asking the right questions in my life? He probably didn't get an answer right away. In the book, Meurisse explained that a strategic mindset means not looking at every situation only superficially, but thinking deeply. Means that, before finding a solution to the problem, it is important to understand that the problem is real. It happens that a few years ago, Prakash was given a big project in the office. He started working with full enthusiasm. But at the last moment the project failed. At that time he considered it as bad luck. But now he understood that in fact he did not ask the right questions. He never thought about what was the real need of the client, he just worked on the surface level details. The book further said that the first step in developing a strategic mindset was asked by Meurisse, who suggested that for every problem you must ask 3 questions. There's 2. What are the possible solutions? 3. What's the most effective solution with the least effort? Prakash immediately took out his notebook and started preparing for a meeting in the office today. He looked at the agenda of the meeting and applied all 3 questions. He felt that these questions gave him clarity, and he had already thought of some practical solutions that day during the meeting when the boss asked the team to solve the problem. Prakash shared his strategically prepared insights. The perspective is very clear and practical. Prakash felt proud inside. He said to himself, "Man, this is the power of asking the right questions." There was another thing in the book that made Prakash think deeply. Meurisse wrote, "A strategic mindset thrives on creativity and collective intelligence." Prakash understood that it is also a great strength to take advantage of the opinions and skills of others rather than just thinking on your own. He wondered if he was always alone, trying to find all the solutions. Appreciation, as it might needlessly be, he decided to adopt the habit. He planned a brainstorming session in his team, in which everyone got a chance to voice his opinion. He realized that from the perspective of others, he could get insights that he had never thought of. The next week, when Prakash started working on a project with his team, he saw that many different ideas were found in a team. A junior member gave an idea that was most practical and cost-effective. Prakash felt that if he was alone, according to his old habit, he would be able to find a solution. In the book, Meurisse also described creativity as an important part of the strategic mindset. He said, "Creativity is limited to art. It's the ability to look at problems from new angles and craft innovative solutions." Prakash started another exercise to implement it in his life. He started thinking at least 3 different solutions for a problem every day. At first it seemed a little difficult, but gradually she realized that her mind was becoming more flexible. On a day when Prakash, wife, was watching television, still fatigued, Prakash was stuck in the office with a tight deadline. He decided to test his creativity. He left his usual way and adopted a new and simplified way. As a result, his work was completed in half the time. He realized that creativity is not just art, it is also a way to tackle work smartly. Prakash also took an in-depth look at the section of the book where Meurisse wrote collective, that every human being has a unique perspective, and when these perspectives are combined, extraordinary results can be achieved. Prakash said to himself, "Man, this is the power of teamwork." He started adopting this philosophy while working with his team. Now he listens to others before giving his opinion in every meeting. He saw that it gives him new insights, and his decision-making process has become more efficient. Then before, Prakash realized that a strategic mindset is important not just for work, but also for personal life. He asked himself, "Am I clear about my goals?" Utilizing creativity and the intelligence of others. He realized that developing a strategic mindset is an ongoing process, and it is not a skill that is learned once, but has to be refined every day. At night, Prakash wrote in his journal, "Today I learned that a strategic mindset is about clarity, creativity, and collaboration. It is not just about solving problems, it is about transforming challenges into opportunities. This is a mindset I want to cultivate." He not only understood every lesson of the book Strategic Mindset, but adopted it in his everyday life. He read a few pages of the book every morning with tea and thought about how he could apply it in his life. He saw how these small changes improved his productivity, his way of thinking, and his overall satisfaction. Now Prakash is not just a man running after success. He thinks at every step whether this step is right for my long-term goals. He had learned to connect his daily work with his larger purpose, working according to the cycles, saving his low-energy time for light tasks, and high energy time for the most difficult and creative tasks, Prakash's biggest victory was that he brought the strategic mindset not only in his professional life, but also in his personal life. Together with the team, he asked the right questions, listened to every perspective, and creatively designed a solution that everyone found practical and effective. The project was not only completed on time, but also received a lot of praise from the client. Prakash's boss said during the meeting that the clarity and strategy that Prakash sees in the way you work is commendable. Hearing this, Prakash thought to himself that this change was not only the result of his hard work, but also because of this book and its lessons, which changed his way of thinking, relationships in personal life. He started having more meaningful conversations with his friends and family. He gained clarity about his priorities. At night, when Prakash was reading the last page of the book, he realized that it was not just a book, but a guidebook for him. He closed the book in his notebook and wrote, "This is the end, and it's the beginning of a new way of living. Strategic thinking is just a skill. It's a lifestyle. Thank you for showing me how to live better, work smarter, and dream bigger." Prakash promised himself that he would always keep this mindset with him. He did not keep his book in the cupboard, but kept it on his desk, so that whenever he needed clarity, he could open it and read it once again. Be sure to leave a comment and thank you.